Welcome to The Deep Dive, the show where we really dig into the sources to bring you the most crucial insights. Today we're tackling the really dynamic world of Hong Kong entertainment and culture.
It's a fascinating area, definitely. We've got a whole stack of articles, research, notes,
Yeah,
and they paint this picture of, well, a city at a real crossroads.
absolutely. And you're going to want to hear this right away. It's a bit of a mind-bending paradox. In 2024, Hong Kong's total film box office, it hit a 13-year low, dropped almost 6% from the year before.
Sounds pretty bad on the surface.
Right, you'd think so. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, for the first time since 2004, Hong Kong local films actually brought in more money than Hollywood films by like 5.5%.
And the contradictions, they don't stop there, do they? You've also got a Hong Kong TV drama, Queen of News, becoming this huge phenomenon in mainland China. We're talking over 1.7 billion reads on Weibo.
Massive. Massive in the mainland, yeah. But back home in Hong Kong, the reception was, well, let's just say it was more complicated.
Exactly. So that's our mission today, right? To unpack these seemingly contradictory trends.
Yeah, we want to explore the challenges, the surprising wins, and what it all signals for Hong Kong's cultural future. Basically, we want to give you a shortcut to being really informed on this.
Okay, so let's start with that box office paradox you mentioned, that 13-year low, HK $1.343 billion total. That takes us back to around 2011 levels if you ignore the pandemic years.
But within that dip, local films just soared.
They really did. Like you said, first time in 2 decades they out-earned Hollywood. It's quite the turnaround.
It really makes you wonder what films were behind this. What were the big local hits?
Well, there were a couple of huge ones. Breaking the Heavens. I mean, it wasn't just the #1 film overall for 2024. It set a new all-time record for a Hong Kong film's box office. Broke the opening day record, too.
Wow. Okay, what else?
The runner-up was Twilight of the Warriors. Walled in, another massive success, over HK $1 billion. And it even got nominated for an Oscar for Best International Feature.
An Oscar nomination? That's huge.
It is. And just for comparison, the #3 film was Hollywood's Inside Out 2, which made significantly less, around HK $84.5 million. So these local films really dominated.
Clearly shows a shift, or at least a strong local preference right now. Okay, let's pivot then to the small screen, because Queen of News, that TV drama, tells another part of this story.
Right. It was a co-production with Youku, a mainland platform. And like we said, enormous hit there. Over 1 million pre-orders, huge ratings, even praise from state media like CCTV.
But in Hong Kong.
Well, it was TVB's highest-rated drama for 2023 with about 27 rating points, which sounds okay.
But
it's nothing like the golden days, the 80s and 90s, when top dramas could pull 50, even 60 points. It's a different scale now.
And wasn't there something about how it became successful, something about data?
Yeah, that's really telling. The producer was quite candid, saying its success wasn't just about, brilliant writing or realism. It relied heavily on big data analysis to pinpoint exactly what promotional angles would work.
What?
Things like independent women. They identified these keywords, these themes, through data and pushed them hard in the marketing.
That's fascinating. So, reliant on data analytics, it feels different from, say, the creative explosion of the 80s and 90s. What fueled that era?
Oh, that was a whole different context. You had Hong Kong's economy just taking off in the 60s and 70s, shifting from manufacturing to finance. That meant money, serious investment flowing into TV.
And viewership was huge back then, right?
Massive. Plus, after the '67 riots, the cultural policies relaxed a bit. There was more space, encouragement even for content that felt genuinely local, relevant to Hong Kong people.
And the talent pipeline. You can't forget TVB's artist training class.
Oh, absolutely legendary. A star-making factory is no exaggeration. Think about it. Stephen Chow, Tony Leung, Maggie Chung, directors like Wong Kar-wai, Johnny To. So many huge names came through that system.
It really was an incubator. And the output wasn't just for Hong Kong, was it? It went global.
Totally. Hong Kong was Asia's cultural powerhouse. Kung fu films, police thrillers, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. They were international icons. The music, too. Leslie Chung, Anita Mui, Alan Tam. Their songs were everywhere in Asia.
I even remember stuff like merchandise being big, like Storm Riders comics and those little knives or McDowell dolls.
Exactly. It was a whole ecosystem. And Hong Kong's status as a free port played a huge role.
How so?
Well, it made it easy to absorb influences, technology, pop culture from the West, from Japan, from everywhere. Plus, importing high-quality gear recording equipment, instruments, was straightforward. That fed the technical quality of the productions.
So you had this unique mix: money, freedom, talent, access.
Precisely. A golden era fueled by a very specific set of circumstances. And now,
Yeah.
well, now things are different. The industry faces some major challenges in trying to transform that legacy.
Okay, let's dig into those challenges. The most obvious one maybe is just how we all watch things now. Streaming, right? OTT services.
Well, completely changed the game. PwC predicts Hong Kong's OTT market will hit nearly $500 billion by 2028. It's growing steadily.
And it's mostly subscriptions driving that.
Overwhelmingly. Something like 84% of the OTT money in 2023 was from subscriptions, and that's expected to grow. Local players like VOTV, MyTV Super, they're battling it out with Netflix, Disney+, the global giants.
Which means traditional TV and things like DVD sales are struggling.
Definitely. People want digital, they want personalized content on demand. It's a fundamental shift in consumption.
Beyond audience habits, what about weaknesses within the industry itself? You mentioned TVB earlier.
Right. TVB had such a dominant position for so long, basically a monopoly. And the criticism, which you hear a lot in our sources, is that this led to complacency. The phrase accountants managed art comes up. Meaning decisions were driven more by cost-cutting and sticking to proven formulas rather than taking creative risks or fostering innovation. And you see the results. TVB has posted significant financial losses in recent years. Its market value has dropped.
And does that environment affect talent retention?
Hugely. The pace is intense. The pay often isn't great compared to opportunities elsewhere, especially mainland China. So you get this significant talent drain. Actors, writers, directors, crew heading north.
Which makes it hard to refresh the creative pool back in Hong Kong.
Exactly. It weakens the whole ecosystem.
There also seems to be this issue around a sustainable business model. You mentioned the Marvel formula earlier, $1 at the box office, $6 from merchandise.
Yeah, that kind of integrated model where the film is just the start and you build a whole revenue stream around it with toys, games, licensing. That's something Hollywood studios, particularly Disney with Marvel and Star Wars, have perfected.
But Hong Kong hasn't quite cracked that consistently, apart from a few examples like Storm Riders or McDull, maybe.
It seems to be more hit or miss. Building that kind of merchandising and licensing machine requires a different kind of long-term strategy and investment, maybe beyond just focusing on the next film's box office.
Okay, and what about pop music specifically? Are there unique challenges there?
Definitely. Our sources point out several issues. One is kind of conceptual, needing to properly distinguish between being a pop music professional and just a general entertainment professional. And also recognizing that commercial hits are only part of the wider pop music culture.
Right, it's not just about chart toppers. And relying on old metrics like record sales, that doesn't work anymore, does it?
Yeah, not at all in the streaming era. But a deeper problem seems to be the lack of dedicated higher education for pop music. There just haven't been many degree programs, bachelor's, master's, PhDs, focused specifically on pop music creation, production, or business.
Really? When did that start changing?
Only very recently, like specific programs starting in 2019 and 2024. So there's a big gap there compared to other established music centers.
And does this connect to a lack of strategy for pop music?
It seems so. There's no clear, agreed-upon positioning for Hong Kong pop. Is it about promoting local culture, engaging youth, patriotism? It's not clearly defined or strategically pushed.
And what about the musicians themselves, especially independent ones?
That's another point raised, the precariousness of being an independent artist or running a small studio. Often treated as freelancers, they lack robust rights protection under existing labor laws.
Which must make it hard to sustain a career.
Very. Plus, there's a struggle for original music platforms. Getting gigs, getting promotion for independent bands and artists trying to do something new, the channels are limited, which stifles innovation.
So industry issues, changing habits. What about government policy? Does that get criticized?
Oh, yes. A recurring theme in the critiques is that government policies for the cultural and creative industries are often seen as top-down, maybe lacking understanding of the actual needs on the ground and not really addressing the root causes of the problems.
So even successful companies might feel they don't get much tangible support.
That's the sentiment expressed in some sources, yeah.
How does this compare to other places?
Well, the sources contrast it with, say, Taiwan. Taiwan apparently does more in-depth research, has more comprehensive policies, diverse funding streams, and even a dedicated Ministry of Culture with specific laws for the creative industries.
And South Korea, the whole Hallyu wave.
That's often cited as an example of really close collaboration between government and big companies, strategically pushing cultural exports with competitive pricing.
Even somewhere like the UK.
Right. The UK, a major global music market, has government and industry jointly funding export support schemes. They also have initiatives specifically to help grassroots music venues survive and thrive.
So the critique of Hong Kong's approach is that it's too hands-off. The big market, small government idea.
That's part of it. While that might aim for content independence, critics argue it's led to a kind of vicious cycle of decline, especially with less support for TV drama production compared to the film sector, where there are specific funds.
Okay, so with all these internal challenges and maybe policy gaps, it makes sense that people are looking elsewhere. Which brings us back to that northbound trend.
Exactly. The mainland market is just vast. The scale, the funding, the resources. For many Hong Kong directors, actors, production teams, it looks like a major opportunity, even a potential rebirth.
And we're seeing successful collaborations already.
Definitely. Things like the variety show Singing Legend, or huge blockbuster films like Raging Fire or The Battle at Lake Changjin. Hong Kong talent, especially directors and technical crews, played massive roles in those mainland hits.
You even mentioned mainland data teams helping with film editing.
Yeah, that shows a really deep level of integration beyond just casting Hong Kong actors. It's about merging production processes.
And the Greater Bay Area, the GBA, seems central to this.
Its position is the key platform. It has unique features.
Yeah.
That East meets West history, being international, that two systems, three currencies set up, a massive population, over 86 million, and a pretty complete industrial chain.
So companies are setting up shop there.
They are. Emperor Entertainment, a major Hong Kong player, opened its GBA headquarters in Guangzhou. They're collaborating with local cultural groups, film bodies. There are official plans for cultural exchange, talent training, joint projects.
And support for artists to access mainland funding, like the National Art Fund.
Yes, that's part of the GBA initiatives, too. The overall vision is that Bay Area film production, films made collaboratively across the region, will become a major force. Think projects like Shockwave 3 or Stories Under the Lion Rock.
But it can't be completely seamless, right? Integrating into such a different market.
No, definitely not. The sources talk about water, soil, and compatibility. That's, the cultural differences, the different market rules, different audience tastes. Hong Kong talent has to adapt, compete with mainland talent directly.
And the big challenge is how to do that while still holding on to what makes Hong Kong creativity unique, preserving that identity and freedom.
That's the tightrope walk, absolutely. How to integrate without just being absorbed.
Amidst all this change and integration, there's one cultural tradition that really stands out for its deep roots in Hong Kong: Cantonese opera.
Ah, yes, a truly profound art form. And recognized globally, too, UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage status since 2009, and a national treasure in China since 2006.
It's incredibly complex, isn't it? The singing, acting, speaking, fighting, all those skills the performers need for the specific character roles.
It's a whole system, but it faces challenges, no doubt. The audience tends to be older. Younger people sometimes see it as, old-fashioned. So there are real worries about passing the torch, about talent succession.
But people are trying to innovate.
They are. You get these fascinating developments like experiments with English Cantonese opera, even Malay Cantonese opera, trying to find new ways to connect. Plus, it's now part of the senior secondary school curriculum in Hong Kong.
And there's some government support, too.
Yes. The Cantonese Opera Development Fund was set up back in 2005. And Hong Kong's environment, the East meets West blend, the free port access to good equipment, strong copyright laws, actually provides a decent base for it to continue evolving.
Although the recent news about the Sunbeam Theater closing in 2025, that's a blow, isn't it? It highlights the need for continued support and proper venues.
It really does. It underscores the vulnerability, even for such a treasured art form.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, it's clear Hong Kong's cultural and entertainment scene is at a really critical moment.
Undeniably. Navigating these complex internal issues, the market shifts, industry structure, policy debates, while facing intense external competition and this huge gravitational pull from the mainland.
That northbound momentum, the GBA integration, those seem like defining trends right now.
They absolutely are. But the real test, as our sources suggest, is how Hong Kong manages this. How does it navigate the cultural and market differences? How does it find its unique value, its niche in this new landscape?
And how does it innovate while also holding on to its heritage, like Cantonese opera?
Exactly. It's a massive balancing act.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. What do you think the future holds? Will it be like a rebirth of Hong Kong's past glory, a completely radical reinvention, or more of a deep fusion and intertwining with the mainland and the GBA?
There's probably no single right answer. But just thinking about those possibilities helps us understand the path ahead.
We hope this conversation has given you a much clearer, well-informed perspective on the fascinating crossroads where Hong Kong entertainment finds itself today.